Well, ahead of tonight's English language debate, Liberal leader Mark Carney has seen his polling numbers dip a little bit. That's according to the latest numbers from Nanos Research.
Yeah, the latest poll for CTV News and the Globe and Mail shows Carney dropping more than 2 points to 47.4% support. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre is down slightly to just under 34% support. NDP leader Jagmeet Singh is up just a bit to 4.7% support.
So let's get more into today's polling numbers with Nick Nanos from Nanos Research. Nick, always appreciate this. So we saw the French language debate last night. I know you were in the field last night, but what I want to start with here is just your overall horse race numbers here. It's tightened a little bit here. Is it now, according to your numbers, within your margin of error based on the pluses and minuses here?
You know, Nick, I thought it was kind of interesting that you guys had a car crash story just before the about the election. It is tightening up. It's think of it this way, Nick. The margin of error for the survey is about plus or minus 2.7 percentage points, 19 times out of 20. So the reality is it could realistically be like 41, 41, 42, 42 between the two parties. So it is tight when it comes to the ballot numbers. But the thing is, the reality is we're still in a two-party race. Is this sounding kind of American, kind of like the Republicans?
Really
and the
is. Yeah.
The NDP are back at 9. The two front-running parties, have more than 80% of all the votes cast. We haven't seen a consolidation like that, I don't think, since maybe 1988. Before the bloc was around, because we've had the bloc and the reform and stuff like that. But right now, what we're seeing, at least, especially when it comes to things like on the ballot numbers, is a tight race. On the leadership front, Mark Carney still has an advantage, although there has been a little bit of a dip in the last couple of days. It's like 47-34 or something like that.
Yeah, the preferred prime minister, rather. I keep saying premier because I think of Doug Ford, but prime minister, that gap is now in single digits, about 9 points. Nick, what will you be looking for as we head into tonight's English language debate? And then, we've also got this long weekend coming up, a time when families usually get together, sit together, think about who they're going to vote for as Canada's next prime minister.
Well, the two big prizes for the campaign, Quebec and Ontario. We didn't see big movement last night. It'll take another in the province of Quebec. So it'll be interesting to see whether, as people kind of talk to their neighbors, check out the news, whether there's a trend line that comes out of that. My sense is there wasn't really a big knockout blow. But, tonight's also another big prize. The other thing, Jennifer, is that in Ontario, factoring the size of the sample, it is within the margin of error between the Liberals and the Conservatives. We have the Liberals at 46, the Conservatives at 42, and factoring the smaller sample, it's basically a statistical dead heat. The NDP are way back at 9. So it'd be interesting to see what happens tonight in terms of whether there's a breakthrough moment, especially for either one of the front-running candidates to be prime minister.
Nick, at this stage of the campaign, based on your years of polling and research here, do you expect that there could typically be any kind of a wild swing, or do you feel like this is just going to be this locked-in, effectively two-party, two-horse race? Yeah,
I don't think it would be a surprise to see a wild swing, but think of it kind of like digesting your holiday meal. You know what I mean? Like, so holiday meal's coming up. Politics is a lot like that. What's going to happen is people are going to, over the weekend, they're going to reflect and digest what's happened in the two debates. Then they're going to talk about what's going on. And I would expect by like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we'll probably have a sense of whatever the final trend line going into the close of the campaign might be. But, the thing is that the Conservatives are very competitive. The Liberals are ahead. This race is not over by any stretch.
Yeah, okay. We'll have to see what happens when we look at your numbers over the weekend and on Monday when we chat again. Nick, thanks so much for joining us. Have a great long weekend. Take care.
Bye-bye.